Hey legendary human, Ryan Magic here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing a 10-step process of all things that I've done that have worked for me to help me with my depression that will help you beat depression for yourself. This is such an important topic, and I just want to pre-frame before we get into these steps because I am going to break them down thoroughly. If you are suicidal, for whatever that means for you, you can still watch this video. I would love for you to get some value from this video, but make sure that afterwards you seek professional help. And as I'm going through this, don't put any pressure on yourself to think, don't beat yourself up if you haven't done any of these things. Go lightly on it, have no expectations. And if you get something out of it, awesome. But there's many times where I've gone and seeked professional help when I've been in super low depressed modes. I went through a lot of depression in my teenage years. And these steps really helped me. But there's no shame in going and asking for help. Like I said, I always have at least 3 to 4 people who are coaching me or counseling me or supporting or mentoring me because I need it personally. Okay, so give yourself that. Let's go into these steps. Highly recommend that you take notes on this, and I highly recommend, whether you're suicidal or not, you really go through this video with compassion and understand that these are all opportunities. Like if you do this is a gift and an opportunity to give yourself a place to start, okay? We're just gonna build. This is something you build upon. Let's get into it anyway. The first thing is you need to make the decision that you are going to beat depression. It's a decision you have to make with yourself. And it's simple. It's just saying, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to beat this thing. I'm ready to beat it once and for all. It's time. Now, it sounds very simple, but it's just a little click in the mind. It's a click in the mind where you're like, you know what? This has been stopping me enough from living a fulfilled life, a life where I love myself and I go easy on myself and I'm living with joy and love and peace and fulfillment. I deserve it and it's time. However, just because you make a decision to start to improve or beat depression, that doesn't mean that you're not going to relapse and feel depressed. You are going to relapse, but the thing is, I like to call it research. If you get in a really low state where you're spiraling down and feeling so low, just see it as, okay, cool, this is interesting. Interesting that I'm feeling this way. And don't beat yourself up for it. So important. And I'm going to go into this more in depth as we go throughout the video, but it's unavoidable. You see, depression is not it's not something that you're like, if I say, hey, nice to meet you, I'm not saying, hey, nice to meet you, depression, I'm Ryan. It's like, I'm depression. No one is 100% depression. If I scare you and you go, whoo, in that moment, you weren't depressed, you were scared, right? And so it's a state, not a permanent fixture of your life. It's not an identity, it is a state. And as a result, the state is going to be something that you enter. And this is something that took me a while to understand. And it's a very fine line here between giving yourself permission to transcend the identity of being a depressed person, but at the same time, giving yourself permission to be able to go through the process of learning to live a more functional and fulfilled life. You see, the reason that identifying yourself with someone that is, I've got anxiety, I am an anxious person, I'm a depressed person, I have depression. The benefit of that is you give yourself permission to go easier on yourself. You can be like, okay, well, if it's a thing, all right, I can be a bit kinder now. I've got a problem. I can just surrender into it a little bit more. But you don't have to identify with depression to be kind on yourself. There is nothing wrong, even if there's a chemical imbalance in your brain. If you make a big change in your life and you go from being, let's say, for example, a nurse, and then you become a salesperson, the chemicals in your brain change. You're doing different things every day, you're in different states, your neurochemistry changes. If you're depressed, it is a chemical thing. It is biological. It is now, you are in a depressed state, your brain is more used to that. And this is what's called your emotional home. It's where you get used to being, where you feel safe being. And so it is a real thing. But identifying with it isn't helpful, okay? And this is the second thing here. So make the decision. Can you right now in this moment say, you know what? I'm ready to let go of this title. I'm ready to beat this thing, and I'm ready to reclaim my life for my life. Not I'm going to have to be someone different. You're already you. You're already unconditionally worthy of love. But am I ready to drop this label and move past this and start living a more fulfilled life for whatever that means for you? You got to do it right now. And if you make that decision, drop it in the comments. Comment right now. I have made the decision to drop and beat depression. Chuck it in there with whatever language resonates with you. And that means dropping the identity. What I want you to realize, guys, is that I mentioned that it is not a identity. It's not I've caught depression. Now I'm always depressed. You feel depressed. It's a state, but you feel lots of things, right? Sometimes you're feeling joy. Sometimes you're feeling apathy, which is hopelessness, which is commonly identified with depression. Sometimes you're feeling guilt and shame. Sometimes you're feeling grief, where you're just low and just grieving, upset, sadness. Sometimes you're scared. Sometimes you're feeling courageous. Sometimes you're feeling indifferent, kind of neutral. Sometimes you're feeling accepting, loving, peaceful. You go through lots of different states. I do as well. I could slap you in the face as hard as I could, and it'd put you into a different state instantly. And same thing with me. I wake up, sometimes I'm feeling apathy, like, oh, it just can't be fucked. Sometimes I'm feeling like I've done something and I'm like worried that someone's going to judge me and I feel guilty about it. Sometimes I do something that I feel really embarrassed about internally and I feel shame around it. We feel a gamut of different emotions, like everyone does. And there's some, with social media, following people that put up usually highlights. Most people don't have social media to put in the lowlights. We can come up with this imbalanced perception of they're always this way. They're always feeling good. They're always up. No, everyone goes through shit. And from being immersed in groups of really successful people, so I've been in multiple groups with wildly successful people that have $150 million businesses and just really successful people. And I've caught up every month with people like this, where the purpose of the catch up is to share the truth behind what's going on. And everyone has ups and downs in there. People, one month will come in being like, I got this win, I've had the best month. Next month, I think my whole business is about to cave in. I feel depressed, low, I don't know myself anymore. The next month, oh, we're actually on the way back. The next month, my wife's got cancer. The next month, everyone's going through ups and downs. We just don't see it sometimes, okay? And so giving yourself the understanding, the emotional frequency chart essentially talks about the fact that you've got contracted states and expansive states. It's very, very interesting. But it essentially, the thing that I like about it is it gives you a way that you can raise your vibration. If you've ever heard of that terminology, raise your vibration. So if you're feeling depressed and low, you can get angry. Depression and anxiety and anger are different. If you're depressed, it's closer to apathy. It's like, I can't do anything. I'm just feeling low. I'm just down, feel terrible. That's more of a depressed vibe. But if you got real angry, that's an improvement from a degree of power of that energy. You've actually moved up. If you be courageous and you're depressed and you're like, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to entertain the idea of going to work. You jump up and you get to fear because now you're scared to go. Or fear and anxiety, the same thing. And you get closer to going, you've actually gone up by entertaining the idea because now you're scared. And you can't have courage without fear. And then you're courageous and you go to work, boom, you've gone from here and you're like, you know what, I did it. I did it. That's pride, courage, right? And then if you started to give some gratitude to people at work, all of a sudden you're loving. If you're like, you know what, I'm depressed, I'm feeling like crap, but whatever, I'm just going to accept it. Whoop, all the way up here. It's a great way to go, okay, what options do I have to escalate where I'm at? But the reason that I want to show you this is because to understand that these contracted states fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame is where depression lives. Depression is just familiarizing yourself and creating an emotional home that exists at the bottom of the emotional frequency chart. But that doesn't mean that you're depression because you're feeling apathetic and hopeless. That doesn't mean that you're depression. It means you're in a state where you're more often than not feeling that way. That's a very, very important distinction. So this second point is so important. Drop the identity. These are the steps. The first one's make a decision. The second one, what you need to immediately follow that up with is no longer am I saying to anyone I'm depressed. We can actually get our needs met. We can feel certain, oh, at least I know why I'm feeling so low because I got depression. That can make us feel safer because it's like, at least I know what the hell is going on, but it's not going to help you long term. You can give yourself that same gift of, okay, I've created an emotional home where I feel this way, or I've done certain things to get myself to this point, and that's okay. I'm not going to feel any guilt about it. I'm not going to judge myself at all for it. And I'll give you an example because I went through heavy depression in my teenage years, and I've gone through some light depression over the last couple of years. But one thing is that a metaphor, an example that's relevant to me that's not depression, to give another contrast, I was mega disciplined in business. I built a business. I did $10 million in this business. I worked from 7 a.m. till minimum 9 p.m., often midnight or past every day, every day for years. And then I burnt myself out, had adrenal fatigue, and then I went more hippie mode and I started to learn how to love myself without the success and the achievement and learn about enjoying the present moment and stuff like this. But then from one, I was like hardcore workaholic, and then I flipped to the hippie essentially. And then now I've pendulum swung in the middle, and I integrated back where I can work hard towards something that fulfills me and excites me, but I can also have the peace and the love and the presence and the joy that comes with the other side. But when I got back into business, building discipline for me, I wasn't disciplined, right? But that's the equivalent of saying I'm depressed. I didn't judge myself. I was like, yeah, I've forgotten how to be disciplined. I had to rebuild it. I sucked. To get myself to do one tiny piece of work was a massive freaking deal. And so but I didn't judge myself. I didn't go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this place. It's like, no, of course, this is what I'm used to. I'm used to not working. So I've got to rebuild it up one step at a time. And you need to do the same thing with depression. You need to unlearn it and familiarize yourself with other ways of feeling, create a new emotional home one step at a time. It's just not going to turn overnight. These things are going to help, but it's not going to change. You're going to teleport to some other thing when your whole nervous system is addicted and used to having an emotional home of depression. But we need to change the identity, because when you have the identity, I'm depressed, your brain's going to, whatever your identity is, your brain then chooses actions and behaviors that someone that's in that identity would do. So when you say, every time you say you're depressed, your body goes, cool, what would a depressed person do? Be depressed all the time. But you're not depressed all the time. But then your brain's saying, no, you need to be depressed all the time. And so if you can change it, you say, instead of your identity being a depressed person, you choose a new identity. No, I'm a strong person. I'm a resilient person. I'm a fun person. And the thing about identity statements is it's not about proving or disproving. The only reason you'd want to fight for the label is because if you don't give yourself permission or you judge yourself for the way that you're behaving, and depression is the savior. It's like, I got the label, therefore I don't have to judge myself. It's not my responsibility to change it. It's just something that happened to me, and therefore I don't have to feel bad about it. I don't have to feel guilty about it. I don't have to judge myself for it. But you don't have to judge yourself for it without the label either. It's a choice. You can give yourself permission and go, you know what? I'm here. But I mean, I've just done the best I can up until this point. I'm not going to judge myself for going through these states and emotions. It's like, this is where I'm at. My emotional home has been depression. It's been depressed. This is a state that I've familiarized myself. It's what I've told myself time and time again. And now I'm going to start the process of unlearning that. And it's okay. That is okay. So we're dropping the identity and you're going to choose a new one. And I want you to put it in the comments. What is your new identity? I'm a resilient person. I'm an optimistic person, where you start looking on the glass half full as opposed to half empty. What is your new identity? I'm a learner. And we're dropping the no more I'm depression. It's so important, because even if it's true, again, the reason it's beneficial is to not judge yourself as much. But you cannot judge yourself without the label. I'm going to really want to hammer that point home. You deserve to give yourself permission to be something more than an identity of depression. You're more than that. You're more than that. You've got stories, you've got character, you've got interests, you've got hobbies. You've got so many things more than this label that's become your emotional home. So we're going to change that around. 3, never shame yourself. If you do, don't even shame that. So what that means is, if you're feeling, like I said, we're going to make the decision to start improving things, but you're going to wake up and not get out of bed one day. And if you do that, you're like, oh my gosh, and you shame it. I can't believe this. I was making so much progress. I was doing so well. And now look what I've done. And then you feel shame around it. What happens on the emotional frequency chart? It is the lowest. It is like quicksand. It is like, it's like you get stuck right down here. But if you're in this place of apathy, you wake up and you get out of bed and you're like, whatever, acceptance. Yeah, I'm having a shit day. So what? It's like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do better tomorrow. And I'm going to improve one step at a time, 1 millimeter at a time. And that doesn't mean that you're always improving on the day. You're going to have states where you're feeling low, high, all over the place. But you're just going to keep showing up, doing the best you can, and you will beat this. But it's very important that you don't shame yourself. And if you do shame yourself and you go, oh, I can't believe this, I was making so much progress, and you recognize, oh my gosh, I just shamed myself, then don't shame it for shame. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I just did the shame thing. Cut the pattern. It's okay. I'm gonna have wild swings. I'm gonna have lowest days where I'm judging myself so much, and that's okay. I'm just gonna do the best I can. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. You got this, right? So never shame. And if you do, don't shame the shaming. All right? 4, smash your health. I promise you that if you get your health into gear, it is going to make feeling good and improving the depression a million times easier. In fact, I think this is the cure. I think that if you get these 5 things, and I'm using the acronym SMASH to tell you what these things are, I honestly think this one step could just change everything, could just dissolve and cut this cancer out of this emotional home. Because it's almost impossible when you're feeling healthy, your body's, so this is the thing. Whenever I'm feeling low, I've got this thing that I say in my head, I move or meditate quickly. If I'm feeling low, move or meditate. Move. That's movement. I feel better after doing that than I did before, right now, in that moment. Dance, sex, walking down the street, doing this, any movement. And movement is activity on this. So let's go through this acronym of health. But just trust me, you might be like, this is a biological, chemical thing. Getting my health into gear isn't going to change that. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Because you're right, it is a chemical thing. It is a biological thing. It is the chemicals are firing in your brain. Depression's my emotional home. Depression's my emotional home. Chemically, you're wired to have more depressed emotions than non-depressed emotions, or more depressed emotions than you've had in the past if this is the lowest you felt with depression. It is chemical. It is biological. Everything is. And so yes, you're right. And this will train, like when you move, what happens with the chemicals? You're shaking your body up. You're processing. Blood flows through your body. It starts processing the chemicals. It starts actually getting your biology healthier. You start to think more optimistically. It gives you hope. It gives you movement. And if we look on the emotional frequency chart, which is a scientific chart, these are the level of hertz of the vibrations of these energies. When you're in apathy, yes, chemically, you're only vibrating energetically at 50 hertz. If you jump up and you move, and you start, even if you move and get anger or you get some pride, I went for a run. It's changing your chemicals. So yes, you're right, it is a chemical thing, and you can change the chemicals, all right, through this. So let's go through these. Smash. The first thing is, I could not believe in this point more. It is so important. The first one is stimulants, avoiding stimulants. Stimulants is sugar. Stimulants is caffeine. Any caffeine. Stimulants is substances. And I also put social media into stimulants. It grabs us. It's short-term gratification. If you get rid of those things, whatever it is, it might be one. There might be one, you might be just like, okay, I'm just having a lot of sugar. I don't smoke. I don't do substances. I'm not going out there on social media at all. But sugar, if you don't get rid of and get these all into order, it is literally priming you to feel sluggish and low and crap. And that's going to put you way more into that state, that low state of apathy. Because your body literally has a false, when you have a stimulant, it gives it a false sense of energy. So you go beyond your means, and then you get to this point where you exhaust yourself, and then you feel apathy, which is depression. So stimulants, get them out. And you're not going to be able to do this overnight. This is why you make the decision, and you know it's a journey. You do the best you can, one step at a time, but you're working towards mastering these. First one is avoiding stimulants. Second one is meditation. Any meditation. Any amount of time is better than none. 1 minute a day is better than none. But I want you to work up to twice a day, 20 minutes a pop. And I'm going to link a bunch of different videos that I've done on meditation so you can go deeper into that. But meditation is massive. The third one is activity. Some form of movement. It doesn't matter what it is, but the ideal is to sweat. You get your body to sweat in any way, it is a massive, massive win. Push-ups, running, dancing, climbing, sport, anything. I promise you, if you work out once a day, not work out as in like I'm in the gym, doing biceps. You could do that. That's fine if you do, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything that you enjoy. It is going to change the game. S, sleep. Try to get to sleep. 10 o'clock, get up at 6 o'clock is ideal, right? But there might be a better ideal for you. It's just knowing what's good for you, getting in a good sleep pattern. And you can go hardcore with it. I'll link you as well to different sleep videos that I do. It might pop up on a screen. If at the time you're watching this, I've created a bunch of sleep videos, but I'm massively into it. I've got an Aura ring that tracks my sleep. It makes a monstrous difference. In fact, last night I had a terrible sleep and I literally had to meditate before doing these series of videos because I was feeling like sluggish and low and depressed, legit. And I had to meditate to get myself through that into a state that was more peaceful. I was literally down here in apathy and probably a bit of grief and a little bit of anger because of that. And then I went, you know what? I'm just gonna get to peace, meditate, and I was energized as. Literally changed, and now my energy is so much better. That's activity, that's sleep, and then lastly, hydration. Hydration. If you get these right, avoiding stimulants, meditating, doing activity every day, sweating, get your sleep, good solid sleep, and then hydrate, like drink regular water, boom, boom. If you're struggling in any of these areas, I'm not surprised. If I have heaps of sugar, boom, I feel depressed. Simple as that. If I'm having stimulants, if my sleep's terrible, I feel apathy, I feel low, I feel sluggish, easy for me to be depressed. If I'm not hydrating, easy to be depressed. If I'm not exercising, easy to be depressed. And I'm quite an empowered person. I have heaps of tools that I do. But I'm telling you, I literally go into these low states where I feel stuck when this is not in order. So this is dead serious. This is such an important point. Let's go to 5. Reactively ask for specific help. Reactively. You get in a low state, you're in the low state, ask for specific help. And what I mean by that is people that you trust, that you know. Not going out and seeing a counselor. It might be a counselor if you trust and know them and that you've got a support arrangement with them. But there's a couple of things to this. You reactively, you react to feeling low, ask for help by people that you trust. But when I say ask for specific help, you've got to tell people how you want to be helped. Because there's nothing worse than feeling depressed and low and then you ask someone for help and they start giving you all this advice if that's not what you want. Sometimes you do want advice. So you go call your friend. Hey Susie, she's your best friend, she knows you, she gets it. Hey Susie, and it's very important that you don't say the depression thing's happening again. I've been in a little bit of a depressed state today. And what I would love is to be able to talk with you and just have you listen. The specific help. Hey, I've been feeling in a depressed state today. I'd really love for you to cheer me up. Hey, I've been in a depressed state today. I'd really love for you to give me some advice on what I could do. Be specific, very specific, or else this is going to make it worse. But go to people that you trust. That's really important. So that's so helpful. But if you don't do that specific help thing, or you like, and even if you don't want people to give you that, oh, you poor thing. That's why I'm in a low state. I don't need any I don't need you to placate. I don't need you to be like extra nice and condescending in any way, talk down to me. Like I'm all good. I'm just having I've been feeling a little bit depressed today. But what I love is for you to, so you can pre-frame what you want and be specific about how you want to be helped. It's great for them and it's great for you. 6, this is a big one. Personal development for life. Personal development for life. What you're doing right now is personal development. Going to seminars, workshops, reading books, personal development. It is such a gift. I literally, and I'm not lying, so I was very depressed in my teenage years. I am so fulfilled and healthy and empowered. I'm living such an incredible life. I'm so proud of who I am. And I'm 28 now, but when I was in my teenage years, I was so low. And since then, I've spent $700,000 on personal development. $700,000. That's right. Sounds insane, but I did it and it helped. I've had over 500 sessions where I've been coached. Times where I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. What's going on with my life? I feel like crap. People are helping me. That's personal development. I've read books after books, listened to podcasts after podcasts, watch videos because I need them. When they're in my environment, in my life, in my funnel of greatness, like what's coming into my mind, my life's better. You're watching a video, you're doing it now. Don't think this, I'm gonna watch a video and then I'm not gonna feel depressed. It's gonna come back. You're gonna feel depressed all the time. You're gonna feel depressed like a lot of days. I feel low a lot of days. But that doesn't mean that I've got depression. That doesn't mean that's a problem. I then go, okay, I'm feeling depressed. What do I need? Oh, I haven't been for a run yet. Go for a run. Oh, I should listen to a podcast. All of a sudden I feel so much better. So personal development for life. Don't think, it's done. I've read the book. I should have the solution. I shouldn't be feeling like this. Shame myself for feeling like this. No. I'm just gonna keep learning and improving and growing and immersing myself in things that allow me to feel more expansive. 7, mirror work. Mirror work is essentially looking in the mirror and connecting with yourself and building self-worth. I do this. It is one of my favorite practices that's made the biggest difference out of everything I've done. There's 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. You're gonna look in the mirror and take it step by step. You might be ashamed of the person you see and be like, you're disgusting, I hate you, you're ugly. That might be how you start. And if it is, that's okay. Can you get up there and just give yourself less insults? It's a progress. You go in there, the first thing you're gonna do is and this is what you're working up to, what are 7 things that you're proud of yourself for? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for showing up today. I'm proud of you for getting out of bed today. And you're really gonna witness the things that you're proud of yourself for. The second thing you're gonna do is what are 7 things that you can forgive yourself for? I forgive you for staying in bed all day yesterday. I forgive you for labeling you as a depressed person and bagging you yesterday in the mirror. What do you forgive yourself for? 7 things. And what do you commit yourself to? What do you commit yourself to? I commit that I'm gonna do my best I can. I commit that I'm not gonna call myself depressed anymore and that I'm actually a resilient person, okay? And you're gonna do 7 things you're proud of, 7 things you forgive yourself for, 7 things you commit yourself to. Mirror work. Do it as often as you need, okay? Do it as much as you can. 8, friends that see you. And I've put a trash can here because ones that don't, out. I'm being brutal on this point. I don't give a shit. You got to find some friends that appreciate you for you. And you might go, and that means, because we all need connection. We need to be around people. We're human beings. We're tribal creatures. We like a buffalo, a herd animals. We are tribal creatures. We need to be around people. We need to connect. So let's say you got 5 friends and 4 family members. And there's 2 family members that treat you like crap. See you later. Pause from speaking to you while I'm working on my health and my mental health and my vibrancy and my empowerment of my life. You got 5 friends, 4 of them are negative. See you later. See you later for good. You got one friend then and two family members left. Okay. You lean harder on those three people. Other ones are gone for now. So you got to be with the people that see you, see your potential, see your love, see your heart. They love you unconditionally. They don't put you down. And the other ones, trash. So double down so you're not then just getting everyone out of your life and you got no connection. You still have connection. And then as you start to build up your confidence and build some momentum and you're starting to change your emotional home to be more expansive, where you're spending more time in love and whatnot, and you make some new friends. Okay, and that's going to make it easier to show up because you hang around people, they lift you up. Life's easier. And we'll get to that point, but chuck the rest in the trash and work towards building friends that see you. 9, choose a vision. Define your vision. Create something that excites you. Now, the most important thing with this is that this is a trap if you judge yourself for not being there or rush the approach. So there's 2 keys. You choose a vision. I want to be a school teacher. I want to start a successful business. I want to be an actor. Whatever it is, create something that you're working towards. Set a vision. Get excited. I want to have a happy family. Amazing. That's your vision. Choose the vision, but on that vision, be super patient. Don't judge yourself for, I can't believe I'm not there yet, because that's the trap. The vision's inspiring, but the judgment that comes with it just takes all the progress away and actually makes it worse. If you have a vision and then you start judging yourself, or you have no vision and no judgment, it's better to have no vision. But if you bring the vision in and you don't judge yourself, that is like a million times better. So be super kind to yourself on the progress you're making. Celebrate the progress and be patient, super patient with it. But hold that dream. Stay excited about that dream. Create a vision board, all right? Something to move towards. Oh, yes, I just went, yeah, good point, Ryan. So number 10, 1-for-1 RAK, random acts of kindness. This is such a gift. I was thinking as I'm going through this, it would have been nice to put this a little bit higher up because these are some serious points. 1-for-1 random acts of kindness. What that means is make it a practice every day, a random act of kindness to somebody else. But for every random act of kindness you give to someone else, which can be a message saying, I love you, or you're great, or have an awesome day, or smiling at someone in the street, every time you have a random act of kindness to somebody else, you do one back to yourself. So you buy your friend a present, buy yourself a present. You send a nice message to a friend, send a nice message to yourself. You smile at someone else. What I actually do, I was just seeing if it's around, I've got like a little fold out mirror, kind of like what a woman would use for doing her makeup, and I take it with me everywhere. Got this fold out mirror. And I'll do eye gazing when needed and make that contact. You smile at someone else, smile at yourself. Or just smile yourself and go, I'm smiling at me. Literally, random acts of kindness fill the heart. And what happens from an emotional frequency perspective? Come up to love. And it's so much easier to do it for someone else than it is for yourself in the early days. But you'll start to be like, you know what? I'm starting with me, then I'll do it for somebody else. Because you'll love yourself that much, and there won't be that rejection of self and that shame and that guilt and that apathy. They'll be like, no, I'm awesome. I deserve to live a life. And that's where you're going to move towards. But it's going to start by giving random acts of kindness, random love, smiles, gestures, writing cards, sending nice messages, words of affirmation, giving someone a hug. Start with someone else and then do it for yourself. You hug your friend, give yourself a hug. There's random acts of kindness, 1-for-1. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to recap. And if you got value from this video, drop us a like on it. It's going to help the algorithm. It's going to push it out there so more people can get access to a solution to living a more empowered life. You deserve that, and so do others. And it'd mean the world to me if you can click that like button. Let's recap here. If you're suicidal, seek professional support. Make a decision to go on the journey, knowing you're going to be up and down, relapsing and whatnot. And it's research. It's okay. You go, I'm curious, how did it go? But really give yourself permission to ride the wild, the truthful wave of defining and building a new emotional home. Drop the identity, understand that it is a state. Depression is not something that can't be solved. It's a familiarity, an emotional home that you've got accustomed to, that you spend a lot of time in, that you can shift and start to spend more time elsewhere. And that's going to change the chemistry. And so that's important. And don't shame yourself if you slip into the state And if you do shame yourself and guilt trip, I stayed in bed all day and then I judge myself for it. It's okay. This is a journey. The more that you can just give yourself permission to be where you are, make the decisions you're making, that's love. And that's loving for yourself. That's acceptance, that's love, that's high. That's in the expansive section. Smash your health. Avoid stimulants, meditate as much as you can. Work to 20 minutes a day, but start with a minute a day. Activity every day, sweat, sleep, good quality sleep, and hydrate. This is everything. Reactively ask for help to people that you trust. When you're feeling down, reach out. Ask for support by someone that you trust and tell them the way that you want to be supported. Commit yourself to personal development for life. Like this video, I know is helpful because it was so helpful for me, these points. I know it's helpful for you. And there's heaps of videos like this. There's videos on my channel, other people's channels, there's books, there's so many things you can do that keep your mind optimistic. Commit yourself to it for life. It's not a one-time thing. Do some mirror work. What are you proud of? What do you forgive yourself for? And what do you commit yourself to? Bin the friends and family members temporarily with the family members. If you choose, you can make whatever decisions you want that don't see you. And bring in more friends that see your value, that know your value. Choose a vision, but be patient and kind to yourself on the pursuit of it. Just really patient. That means you choose a vision. You don't even have to start pursuing it for 2 years, but at least have it there and be excited about where you're moving. And lastly, random acts of kindness. Spread love to others and then give yourself that same gift every time, one for one, one for one. So what I want to know for you is what is one of these that you're going to execute? Drop it in the comments. What's the one that stood out for you most? Put it in the comments. If you got value from this video, drop a like so other people can also get that value. And I would love it. It would be an honor if I can support you on your journey. Click the subscribe button so you can get access to more videos. Stay optimistic, stay hopeful, stay empowered, keep moving forward 1 millimeter at a time, 1 day at a time. And you've got this. If you do this, you've got this. You've got this. Sending you so much love. Awesome job watching this video. I can't wait to see you on the next one.